Good evening. I think I just blew out the sound guy's earphones, but I got my new toy now. But doesn't it sound good? And for all you at home, here, I'll do it again for you. Yeah.
It's working. They're coming.
Yeah. So welcome to welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living here in Granada Hills, California. We're located in the North San Fernando Valley, where we are coming to you live from our sanctuary. We are a faith community that welcomes all who practice their beliefs and faith and love. And I am joined here with some friends tonight and the gong. How you doing? Good to see you. Yeah. All right, so I'm joined tonight by one of our practitioners here, the wonderful Deborah Fishburne. So we can give her some love here in the room and online, and on the chat there, and we'll get underway. So let's just start by taking a deep conscious breath together and release. And as we release, we're just letting go of all the cares and concerns of the day, the worldly clamors, just allowing ourselves to claim this moment as our own, this eternal now moment, as we come together for our call to service, which we call lighting the flames of faith. And we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples, all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. Now, fundamental to this truth is a unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here this evening. So as Deborah lights the first candle, it's for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the second candle for shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the third candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the fifth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. The sixth candle we light for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. The ninth candle we light for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. The 10th candle we light for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of spirit in their lives and the space we hold for them here within our sanctuary, within our online community, and of course within our own hearts. As Deborah lights the healing candle, keep calling to mind any place where there's conflict on the planet, including possibly within our own hearts. Please put silently into the light the names of anyone you wish to have experienced the healing flame of God's eternal love.
I'm thankful, so grateful. I'm one with the Spirit all around me. I'm thankful, trust in God. I surrender, I surrender. I'm one with the Spirit all around me. I surrender, I surrender. I trust in God.
I'm so grateful to be here tonight as we come together to join in consciousness of knowing the one presence, the one light, the one mind, this one life, one energy, love, God, Spirit, by whatever name we give it. It is everywhere present. There is nowhere that it is not. And I know that for myself and everyone here, we are one with it. We are divine sparks of the divine light, divine love of the bigger love, one with the mind, one mind of God. I know we are complete and whole and perfect expressions of this one life. And I know I let all illusions of separation between myself and it just fade away, taking this moment to revel in the oneness with it, breathing it in, feeling it, knowing it with every fiber of my being, for myself and for everyone here. And I know this wonderful evening of meditation unfolds in complete spiritual perfection, that our sound, our technology unfolds in perfection, that the words spoken uplift, bring joy, bring compassion, bring love to anyone who might need to hear them. I know that we are open at the top as we let ourselves be uplifted, enlightened, joyful, peaceful, filled with love. I'm so grateful for this awareness, so grateful to be here with all of you this evening. My heart is filled with gratitude and joy. And so I release my word to the law, knowing it is done, for I have done nothing to change God. I have merely stated the spiritual truth. And so I can let go and let God for the highest good of all concerned. And so we say together, and so it is. Good evening. So thinking about this week, I think about this idea of being a practitioner and being up here and you know, all the learning and the experience and the practice and it's, for myself, it's been a hard week. It's been, you know, it's not just because we're up here, it doesn't mean we have it all figured out. I do not. So, you know, sometimes my life is like this gentle stream and I'm just floating along. It's peaceful. Everywhere I look, it's beautiful. It's serene. I can smell the tropical flowers on the breeze. It's really heaven on earth. And then, bam, life is a dodgeball game. And I am terrible at dodgeball. And I'm doing my best to just duck and cover, you know, and it is the experiences that I'm being pummeled, right, by life. And so what do you do as a practitioner or as someone practicing, right? What do we do to get back to the gentle stream, where life is filled with grace and ease and warmth and comfort? And I can tell you, it usually, for myself, starts with releasing, you know, victimization, whining, complaining, and really moving into a place of personal responsibility. I think that's what makes this philosophy so amazing and yet so hard at times because my life is not being done to me. Life is not being done to us. It's being created by me. So we have these things called spiritual practices, right? So when we find ourselves in the dodgeball game of life, we have these practices, which we practice. We don't perfect, we practice. So these are, and we're learning about them in our current class, the Power Your Decision, right? Self-awareness, that conditions do not have power over me. I have to use my self-awareness, be aware of the condition without turning my authority over to it, right? Self-awareness about the decisions I'm making and knowing that, okay, this one didn't work for me so well, I can make a different one, right? There's no bank account of the amount of decisions you can make. You can just make a new one, right? We have spiritual mind treatment to demonstrate for me what I do want and not to complain during my treatment about what I'm not getting. We turn away from that shadow, right? And we raise our sights just higher, just a little higher than what we have now, right? If that's where we're at and that's what we can do, that's what we do, right? We can practice the presence, right? How do we feel spirit? How do we know that we're actually one, that we are God expressing? We have to practice the presence through meditation and mindfulness and visioning, being open at the top, as we say, just being open to kind of grace coming through. And this is a big one for me. Ask for support, not advice, right? Why is that? It can be so hard. Ask for support, right? If I am not doing my own treatment so great, I can ask a practitioner to treat for me. I can ask for that support. We all can. Practice gratitude, right? I came home, I was driving home after a grueling day, 12-hour day, and I was complaining a little bit on the phone, and I passed a horrific accident on the 405 with like 10 fire trucks. I'd never seen them, that many. And in that moment, okay, I'm grateful I get to just complain about this little stuff, right? So we have to practice that gratitude. I do. And then also practice compassion, especially with ourselves. Be gentle with ourselves. I need to be gentle with myself. And so I read this. This is from our good friends that came on Sunday, Z and Melissa. I got their book, Everyday Joy. And this was today. Every time I fall, I get up. Falling is simply a part of moving forward. It happens. It's no big deal. I pick myself up and I try again. I learn from my mistakes. I am grateful for the process. I am grateful for my gracefulness, even as I fall. I fall down, I get up. I am graceful all the way. So thank you for letting me share. So we have a couple of announcements. As I was saying, practitioners are available. You can go online, you can find a practitioner, you can come on Sunday, free 2-minute tune-up, use the practitioners. That's what we're here for. It helps us when you call on us. Animal Kinship Group meets Sunday, April 21st at 1 p.m. on Zoom. You can email Reverend Kathy for details. We have the World Healing Full Moon Meditation Ceremony. That's Tuesday, April 23rd at 7 p.m. You can see the newsletter for the Spiritual Unity Movement website for Zoom link. Visioning for Life. It's a new class with Reverend Dr. Maureen starting April 25th at 6:30 p.m. It is in person. You can register in Sparks Hall or contact Melissa for registration. Children's beginning drums and guitar, theater, tai chi, and meditation are ongoing. You can contact Melissa or Reverend Nicole for information on registering a child or sponsoring a child. And then finally, we are going to be having a summer music camp. It's going to be July 8th through the 12th, and then a summer theater camp July 15th through the 19th. We would love for the congregation to help spread the news, so grab a few flyers that are out in the foyer to share with the community. So those are our announcements.
Thank you. So I was thinking about that reading about getting knocked down and getting back up again. When my kids were small, there was a band, what was it, Chumbawamba? Chumbawamba. What was it, Desi?
It's Chumbawamba, the song is Tough Something.
Right, I get knocked down and I get back up again. Yeah. Yeah, I've always thought that would be a great opening church song. Yeah. So yeah, we had some visiting ministers in on Sunday, and they were, their message was great and so forth, but they did a workshop on the teachings of John Sarno. Have you guys heard of John Sarno? So he's a very interesting doctor. He's out of New York University. He's no longer with us. He died in 2017. And he was controversial within his field because after so many years of trying to help people with chronic back pain and not being able to help them, right? They'd had surgeries, they'd done all this stuff to no avail. And he's looking over their charts and their MRIs and x-rays and so forth. And why is it that this one, who's got scoliosis and a cracked vertebra, doesn't have any pain, and this one over here has minimal damage and yet they're debilitated? And so he started looking at this, and he developed a theory that a lot of the pain that many people, not most, I don't want to say most, the pain is real, okay, but the pain is not being caused physiologically, but rather emotionally. And that because the conscious mind cannot handle dealing with the deep feelings, the deeply held feelings that we hold. And so the body then compensates by creating pain to distract from the emotion that we're avoiding. Now, this sounds like you're kind of blaming the victim, but it's really not, because what he encouraged people to do was to see their pain as psychological rather than physical, which takes practice. Now, this would seem kind of woo-woo, except if you consider in the Vipassana, the Buddhist Vipassana practice, one of the things that you do in sitting meditation is observe sankharas or sankharas, which are quote-unquote defilements, right? So they arise, you observe them, and you let them go. Well, what is arising and what are we observing? Well, a lot of it's emotional stuff, right? And so they continue to arise until they've been neutralized, right? What we would say in our teaching is that they've been healed. And in that healing, then, the pain discontinues. And he has all of these testimonials from people who've experienced a healing around this. From Larry David to Howard Stern to John, I think it says Soros, the guy from 2020, Soros? I can't remember what his name is. But anyways, this is some of the things, and he calls it TMS because in the beginning it was about back pain. So 12 daily reminders. It's not structural abnormality. The direct reason for pain is mild oxygen deprivation in the area that's where we're feeling pain. So I thought we would do a meditation tonight, and if you're feeling any discomfort or places where you often feel discomfort, that will through a slightly guided meditation, we'll breathe into those areas. The primary emotion, take a guess. Anger. Anger. TMS exists only to distract our attentions from the emotions. Since my back or any other pain we're experiencing, shoulder, whatever, is basically normal, there's nothing to fear. Therefore, physical activity is not dangerous, right? So people restrict themselves because they're afraid of hurting themselves. And I must resume all normal activity. Anyway, for anyone who's interested in this, I can send it around. I will shift my attention from pain to the emotional issues. I intend to be in control, not my subconscious mind. So I'm going to bring my conscious mind to bear. I must think in psychological and not physical. Now, the reason why I find this so interesting is that it has some really easy correlations with what we're teaching here, because we believe in the control of conditions through right thinking anchored in spiritual practice, not from an egotistical kind of way, but understanding that we are co-creating our experience with this field of mind, this God consciousness, however you understand that to be. So we don't get caught up on the, if you want it to be Christ consciousness or Buddha mind or the universe source, or whatever, Krishna, whatever, however that, whatever gets you through the night, right? And I know for myself, sometimes I'll use a little Jesus, sometimes I'll use a little Buddha, sometimes I'll use nature, sometimes I'll connect with, my oneness with, the vastness of the universe. So, we have so much at our disposal, but we can't use it unless we use it, right? We can't utilize it unless we use it. So basically what he's saying is that we have a lot of repressed stuff. And anger being the number one thing. And so then I wanted to throw this at you. So this is from David White in his book Consolation. He's a poet. And what he says, I'm just going to read you a couple lines. What we usually call anger is only what is left of its essence when we are overwhelmed by its accompanying vulnerability. When it reaches the lost surface of our mind or our body's incapacity to hold it, or when it touches the limits of our understanding. What we name as anger is actually only the incoherent physical incapacity to sustain this deep form of care in our outer daily life. The unwillingness to be large enough and generous enough to hold what we love helplessly in our bodies or our mind with clarity and breath of our whole being. So another thing that he talks about is what fuels a lot of this stuff is that we want to be not only good people and see ourselves as good people, but we want to be perfect in our goodness. So there's a perfectionist component, there's a control component, there's a judgment, a self-judgment, there's anger, there's sadness, there's fear, there's shame. So if you are happen to be one of those people, whether you're here today or watching online and you've been dealing with a chronic issue, I would encourage you to look him up, John Sarno. There's many YouTube videos, and he's got a couple of books out. And I'm going to be working with this stuff for a while as we explore how to use meditation, mindfulness meditation, to release some of this stuff And as we do it on a regular basis, to see if we have, because there's all kinds of, there's blood pressure, there's chronic pain, there's, what do you call it, gastro stuff, there's, there's all kinds of ailments that this fellow has experimented with, and he has some good hard science behind it too. So there's some stuff to think about. So let's just take a deep breath and release. And so we're just going to do a simple breathing technique where we're going to just follow the movement of the breath in the nostril. Here's the thing about the mind. It can't hold two thoughts at once. So the practice is simply to bring our attention to sensation, specifically the movement of the breath in the nostril, the inhale and the exhale. And you'll see the mind begins to still. And if you have some chatter going on, just try taking a deep breath all the way to the top, and then on the exhale, just feel the release. Shoulders, face, and then return back to the breath. The tummy rises and falls naturally, easily. So I currently do not have discomfort, but I've been feeling discomfort in my hip lately. So I'm going to breathe into my hip, and on each exhale, feel the tension in that area release. Knowing that I'm breathing in oxygen and vitality, even love into that area that I'm loving. My hip, as silly as that might sound on the surface. So if you have a place within yourself, maybe simply within your heart, maybe you have a heavy heart tonight. So again, using sensation to focus the mind, beginning with the bottom of our feet, bring our awareness of our feet within the shoe or the sock. Can we tell where the skin stops and the air begins? Bringing our attention up the legs, into the knees, maybe stop in the knees and breathe some love into the knee. And on the exhale, feel a release. Up into the seat. Bring our attention to our sit bones, and the awareness of our spine, balanced above the sit bones, our head balanced on the spine. So that we are erect but free of tension. If you're feeling any tension in your lower back, you can tuck your tailbone in a little bit forward. It'll release that. Chin slightly down. Hands and arms relaxed. Bringing our attention to the sit bones and into the hips. So let's take a few breaths here. Breathing in love and light. Releasing. Any tasks that have been weighing heavily on us, that have given us that, oh, my aching back kind of feeling, we're just, with the breath now, we're releasing all that stuff. The spine into the shoulders, allowing the shoulders to open up and to fall back just a wee bit. Allow the heart to open. Again, following the breath. See if you can detect the movement of your breath on your upper lip. Staying with the breath. And bringing our attention on the exhale. And with each exhale, we're going to feel a release. So taking a deep breath. Feel the release, focusing on the exhale as we move into the silence now for about 15 minutes. attention gently back into the room, staying with the breath, staying with the exhale, breathing into our heart center. Visualizing that flame of the divine within the heart, seat of the soul, if you will, that light that is always there. Using our breath now, we are just bringing our awareness, more awareness to it. So with each breath, fanning that flame, I'll sing this ball of light, beautiful, radiant, golden light at the heart center, divine fire that it illuminates rather than destroys, radiates, radiant in its beauty, and growing with each breath. The ebb and flow of the breath, expanding this light beyond the body, torso, side to side, front to back, top to bottom, that we're sitting in this field of light. We feel our heart opening with each breath, expanding just a wee bit more, expanding this light, this field of light and love, extending now, commingling with our friends here in the sanctuary, filling the sanctuary itself in this field of light and love, extending down with our friends joining us online as this light from them extends. So we're creating this field of light and love. We rest here for a moment or two with the breath. And so now, anchored in this field of light and love, we, in our mind's eye, look in front of us and we see a dark knight in its armor. And this knight represents repressed emotions, known or unknown, anger, fear, resentment, shame. And we are anchored in our own light and the radiance of that light. So now the knight takes off the armor. Standing in its vulnerability and its longing for connection, of integration. Imparting its knowledge or lesson from our place of strength, anchored in light and love. We allow this light now to radiate and absorb this vulnerable essence as we see it now integrated, that this shadow now has been dissipated and dissolved within the light of spirit, that it is integrated and the radiance grows ever brighter. There's an illumination of healing in this moment. Take a deep breath. We release that. So now, no longer encumbered by these denser thought forms, now we open our heart and open our mind to new and dynamic ideas that have within them the solution to any seeming challenge. That these ideas are a download, an upload from the spirit within, a download from the universal mind, anchoring deep within us these new ideas from the creative impulse of the universe itself, anchored so that for our retrieval, either later this evening in the dream state, sometime in the next few days, we feel a sense of gratitude in knowing that this sense of confusion has been replaced with clarity, that our sense of reticence has been replaced with a sense of confidence. As we take a deep breath and release, and in that release, knowing we've been set confidently on a new path of right thinking. So again, staying with the breath, returning to the heart one more time. With each in-breath, feeling the expansion of the heart and inviting into that those with whom we share our life in intimate ways, our children, our mates, close friends, spiritual community. Taking a deep breath. Feeling the blessing in that now, including those with whom we work with, our employees perhaps, our workmates, whatever that activity, whatever our particular calling is, perhaps teachers, principals, counselors, neighbors, bringing them now into this expanded heart, this expanded field of light and love that we are. And we take a deep breath, release that. As we know together then, there is, in some wonderfully crazy cosmic way within our own level of understanding, however we see it to be, that it is all legit and all true, that there is but one power, one presence, one source, one life, one living intelligence, the wellspring of love itself, that is both impressing and expressing itself in, through, and as all of life, in, through, and as our life. And so from this recentered and refocused awareness that we are claiming the strength of this altered consciousness now as we move fortified by love, strengthened by a physical body that has been fortified, that we're releasing any attachment to thought forms that cling to pain of any kind, that we release. Take one more deep breath. That we're just releasing all of it and experiencing radiant good health, abundant prosperity, creativity in all of its forms, and relationships that are loving, connected, and uplifting. And so for this word, for the cares, concerns, thoughts, aspirations of anyone listening now or later, we take one more deep breath. Feel a deep sense of gratitude for the many blessings in our life. And from this place of gratitude, we just release all of it with gratitude and confidence, knowing that it is done. For we are releasing it to that aspect of the mind of the Most High that knows only to say yes as the law of its own being. So we release it. We let it go. So we know further as we leave here, those of us in the sanctuary leave here tonight, that we arrive home safely and in good order, that all of us, as we make our way through the rest of our evening, finding our way to our beds, as the head hits the pillow, we drift off easily to sleep, sleeping deeply, restfully, dreaming sweet dreams, that we awaken feeling fully rested, restored, revitalized, with a sense of vim and vigor, a zest for life, and an excitement for the day. So one more final breath for that final release, knowing it is done, knowing it is so. And together we acknowledge this by saying, and so it is. So thank you, friends, for being here. It's always better to meditate with folks around. Thanks for making it in, Desi. It's good to see you. Good to have you back. For those of you joining us online, if this is your first time joining us in our love stream, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you hit the notification bell, then you will get a little reminder on Sunday at 10:30 when we will be live with Jason Goldstein. He's bringing in a couple of his students from his school, which one is it? Campbell Hall. I almost said Highland Hall, from Campbell Hall. And so that'll be fun. I'll be here doing the message this Sunday as well. We also have a smaller, more intimate Tell the Truth service at 9 a.m. So you can come in and join us then too, where, I can say things in there that I don't say on camera. All right, so until then, know that you are loved. Peace and blessings. Look forward to seeing you soon. Bye now.